Hi everybody, my name is Julio Salgado, Project Manager for Culture Strike. Welcome to another edition of Taco Talk, where we talk with your favorite activist artists while eating tacos, because why wouldn't you eat tacos? Like, if you're not eating tacos right now, pause the video, go get some tacos, come back and watch the video. For today's episode, we have the one and only Sonia Guiñansaca! Yay! Oh my god, like, I follow you on Instagram, and thank you so much for being here. Since you're visiting us here in Oakland, and we're in the Culture Strike headquarters, we had to get tacos from Cosecha. Please go check them out. During the lunchtime, they're kind of, they're hella full, but their tacos are worth it. What did you get?
I got braised pork and braised beef.
And I got some chicken and pork as well.
And we got our fresh strawberry juice and
strawberry, and I got horchata. Horchata for me. That's not how you say horchata.
No, it's horchata.
Okay, so this is my favorite part of the show. Pretend like there's no camera in front of you, and just take a bite of your taco and enjoy it. It's called Orgasm Taco Face. So we're gonna eat our tacos, then we'll talk about art and chisme and all that stuff that people are dying to know about Sonia Guiñansaca. Cheers. Those were really good tacos, right?
Delicious.
They were amazing. I love Cosecha because they have a wall where they put art, and so they have different artists from Oakland put their art in there. So we appreciate restaurants, we appreciate art. So I want to ask you all the questions. The first time that I saw undocumented students doing civil disobedience, you were one of the people that I saw sitting down at the Hart Building in DC, and I was like, who are these illegal immigrants asking for rights? How dare they? What was that turning point in your life where you were like, I need to speak out and I need to get involved in this movement?
It was straight out of high school, or actually during high school, when my guidance counselor was telling me that because I was undocumented, my highlight was going to be just high school. I was in shock and realized that I needed to take action and do something for myself.
What was it like to grow up in New York and be undocumented?
For me, growing up in New York City, I was one of the only Ecuadorians in Harlem. My reference points of like organizing and activism and movement work was like the Young Lords, Asada Shakur, Black Panthers, and at the same time also I'm from South America. I'm Ecuadorian, and so I didn't have like other references.
Where in Mexico is that
at? So growing up undocumented, my parents were like, don't talk about it in public. And at the same time, it was normalized. Like other families were also migrant and had undocumented children and moms and dads, and my teachers then, who were like mostly Dominican teachers, were super supportive. And also New York is all the way in the other coast. We are not by the border, so it's very different from California.
Right.
This imaginary line, this imaginary border, it's only real when it's time to like when our grandparents or our aunts or cousins pass away in our home country. But it's not something physical like folks who live in California or in the southern states. You,
I feel, started, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you started as an organizer and then developed, like you grew into your art, or have you always, all of your life, identified as an artist and then an organizer?
I think I was always an artist, a cultural worker. Since I was little, I was writing in my journals, with my little locket that of course didn't work. My mom still read it. In high school, the same way, I started looking into spoken word in New York City. Spoken word is a big thing in New York City. The issue of being undocumented was so real that at that moment there weren't models of artists also organizing. That was my initial incline to go to that and do that work, and that's how I became an organizer. And it didn't feel whole. Organizing wasn't like nourishing my creative process. In organizing, you only see organizers. You're not trying to collaborate with artists and cultural workers. And I had to sacrifice my being an artist and being a poet 3 years after being into the movement, that I was like, no, I'm gonna start doing writing workshops. We're doing all this policy work, we're doing, all these actions, but when are we creating?
So is that when you came up with the idea of Dreaming in Ink?
Yeah.
That was when I first saw, like, you know, you as a writer. Tell us about Dreaming in Ink.
When I was trying to balance my creative poetry side with like organizing, I went to a lot of writing workshops that were led by like American-born folks who, you know, people with papers who did not understand like being undocumented or like the experience, the lived experience of being undocumented. And so I took it back. I started writing and brainstorming like potential writing workshops for and by undocumented writers. That work will lead me into working with Culture Strike with the Undocumented Writing Project.
And you actually created something. I love it when artists go beyond the internet, sharing stuff in there, and actually, you know, create stuff that you can hold for somebody who's like watching this and they're like, I want to make my own chapbook. What did you have to go through to make this happen?
It's been a 2-year project. I feel like Nostalgia and Borders, this chapbook was like my first mixtape. Like all those years, you know, to get to this moment of like putting it out. I was super scared. So I think for folks who are thinking about doing their first chapbook, there's 5 steps to it. The first one is you need to write. You need to create that content. The second one is you need to start editing those pieces. And that also can look in forms of going to different residencies and workshops. So shout outs to Vona, shout outs to Boat, the Hemispheric Institute for really creating a space for me to edit and look over my work. Oh, and also with the editing, have a editing committee. So my editing committee was Emilia Fiaggio and Kay Barrett, and they were the ones to look over the pieces. After that, collaborate with a designer. I always say high quality for anything that we're doing. Don't just like push some shit out just because for the sake of it. If you believe in your work, you'll put the money in it, you'll put the resources in it, or look for those resources. That's my baby, so I had to work with an amazing artist, and that's how I partnered up with Romito Rico. And then after that, it's the push out, the rollout of what that's gonna look like, our Instagram. And I started like hitting up some of the bookstores out there, whether it's in Brooklyn or Philadelphia, to start like housing some of them. And then finally, just breathe. I almost had a heart attack the first time I put it out. I'm an artist, and I don't know who said it, but I'm sensitive about all my shit, you know?
That's Erykah Badu.
Erykah Badu, like, it's being vulnerable for a large audience, and you don't know who's gonna read it, and that's not the last piece.
Yeah.
So the reminder for like the folks who are doing your first chapbook, I think I see chapbook as, you know, your prelude to a book, to a larger manuscript. Put out your poetry, like believe in yourself. It's okay if it's not the best pieces yet, but you just need to have it out of your system and trust in your community that they will support.
Thank you so much, Sonia. What are you doing next, and where can people find your work?
So I'm gonna reprint Nostalgia and Borders for the 3rd time, and it's gonna come out in June. And you can go to my website, soniaguiñansaca.com. And I'm gonna be constantly coming to Oakland as managing director. So if you are a writer, hit me up. Let's link up. Specifically, if you're a femme of color. I'm always trying to bond with other femmes of color, solidarity. So
yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sonia, for being in another episode of Taco Talk. Thank you so much. Bye.